and those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. Wow, that's a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche, and it really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? What does it actually mean to hear the music in, well, in a world that just feels so full of noise and demands, all the distractions? Today we're going deep. We're diving into a book that claims it can help you find that music, that rhythm. It suggests transforming your mornings can actually transform your whole life. Our mission today, like always on the deep dive, is to cut through all that noise. We're looking at Robin Sharma's The 5 a.m. Club that's had a huge global impact. We'll pull out the key insights, give you that shortcut to really understanding it. We want to lay out the core philosophy, the practical steps he proposes.
And what's really fascinating when you get into it is how Sharma takes something pretty simple, waking up early, and turns it into something profound. He's not just offering a time management trick. Not at all. He frames it as like taking back your own power. A serious act of self-care designed to give you a real edge. It's presented as this fundamental shift, how you tackle your day, your work, your growth. He talks about creating this insulated period right at the start, that victory hour, just for you. No digital noise, no external demands hijacking your focus before you've even really woken up.
Exactly. It's not just the alarm clock going off at 5 a.m. That's just the trigger. The real core is dedicating that first hour, that crucial time, to yourself, to personal growth. Sharma argues this is when, the world builders, the empire makers, they prepare. They set themselves up for a world-class day. It's about tuning up your mindset, your heart set, health set, and soul set, laying this incredibly positive foundation that, just echoes through the rest of the day. And the book's argument is basically stick with this, be consistent, and you'll see major success, both personally and professionally. It's like giving yourself a win first thing, every single day, before the world even gets going. The core philosophy, own your morning, elevate your life.
And that phrase, own your morning, elevate your life, it really is the core. It's not just a slogan. It's the heartbeat of the whole philosophy in the book. Mr. Riley, the sort of billionaire mentor character, he repeats it all the time. It's his guiding principle, and it's what he teaches the other characters. It just perfectly sums up how mastering those first hours can literally lift your entire life. It's about intention. It's about power.
Yeah, and it really focuses on grabbing that unique, quiet part of the day. Before the emails start flooding in, before the notifications ping, before everyone else needs something from you, think of it like tending your own inner garden first, building this sanctuary for your mind, body, spirit. The book really stresses that this first hour is 100% yours. No phones, no social media, no news, no demands. It's a deliberate move to build up what Sharma calls your 4 interior empires. That's mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set. It's your secret weapon almost, a fortress against the daily chaos.
And if you zoom out a bit, this whole victory hour idea is positioned as a direct response to what the book quite bluntly calls a civilization that has become fairly uncivilized. Sharma really doesn't hold back. He describes modern life as this orgy of complexity, superficiality, and technological distraction. He even calls people cyber zombies, relentlessly attracted to digital devices. Strong words. So the 5 a.m. club method is presented as this act of, rebellion almost, against that constant pull. It's about reclaiming your focus, your primal greatness, as he puts it, restoring some sense of purpose in a world that often pushes, stuff, material things, and external approval over deep self-work and inner calm. So it's deeper than just managing time. It's about managing your attention, managing your inner state. And those are probably our most valuable resources, right?
That is a really powerful way to frame it. And of course, the big question lots of people ask is, why 5 a.m.? Why so specific? Not 6, not 7. The book does say, many of the great achievers get up before the sun is the most special part of the day. But it goes beyond just like tradition or sounding nice. Sharma digs into the psychology, the biology. Apparently at that early hour, your prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of your brain, is less cluttered. The day's worries haven't fully kicked in yet. There's this unique quietness, this peace. It allows for deeper thought, more clarity. You can actually focus without the usual constant pings and demands that come later. It's about using that quiet window to get a real advantage. Fewer emails, fewer notifications. It's just you and your thoughts. Stillness. It's a time when your creativity, your problem-solving skills can really come alive without being constantly interrupted. The unfolding journey. from skepticism to transformation.
Yeah, and the way Sharma presents this isn't just like a manual, it's woven into a story, a pretty engaging one, actually. It follows these two main characters, an entrepreneur and an artist, and both of them are, well, they're at pretty low points when we meet them. The entrepreneur, she seems successful on the outside, but inside she's struggling massively. The book calls it fatherless daughter syndrome. She feels this huge void, tries to fill it with money, but it's not working. She's actually near despair, even thinking about suicide. And her cynicism is really clear early on. She dismisses these self-help type events as being for broken-winged people looking for pseudo-gurus. Shows how little faith she has left.
And then you've got the artist. He's cynical too, but in a different way. Super talented, loads of ambition, but he just keeps getting in his own way. Self-sabotage, procrastination. He can't seem to actually do the things he dreams of doing. He really admires the work of this guru character, the Spellbinder, who they both saw at a conference. But his own demons, his fear, his doubt, they just keep holding back. So these two different fields, but they share this deep feeling of being stuck, unfulfilled. They desperately need something to change, even if they don't quite admit it at first.
Right. And this is where the story takes a really weird, unexpected turn. They meet this mentor figure, but he looks homeless. Scruffy clothes, picking a scab apparently. But then there's this contrast. He's wearing a really expensive watch, and his eyes are described as intense, like a lion's, wise. The entrepreneur's first thought sums up perfectly. Total crackpot. If he's got a fortune, I'm Mother Teresa. Even the artist, who's kind of drawn to the guy's weird wisdom and poetic way of talking, he's still really skeptical, thinks to himself, he's a character, but I still don't really trust him. Probably ripped the watch off some rich idiot. Sharma uses that contrast deliberately, I think, to make you question your own assumptions about what success looks like. Sets the stage for something unconventional.
It definitely shakes things up. It's designed to challenge their perceptions, and ours too. And that initial skepticism, it gets blown away pretty quickly and dramatically. This mysterious guy arranges what he calls a trust walk, which somehow escalates into them getting on a private jet. He flies them off to his private estate on the beach in Mauritius, which sounds, well, like paradise. And that huge contrast, their normal, troubled lives versus this incredibly luxurious, beautiful, peaceful place, it's jarring. It immediately starts to open their minds just by changing their environment so drastically.
And the environment, plus being forced to wake up early by this guy, it starts working on them almost immediately, starts breaking down their defenses. The artist, remember, he wasn't an early bird at all. He's actually surprised by the quiet. He notes, everything's so peaceful at this time of the day, no noise, such peace I can really think. Things seem clearer, my attention isn't a mess. What tranquility. Just experiencing that calm and clarity, even though he's tired. It's the first little crack in his resistance. He's feeling the benefit Sharma writes about.
And the entrepreneur, who started out so cynical and defensive, she starts to shift too. It's quite a change. She admits to herself, he's super consistent, he's treated us so well, he doesn't even know us, and yet he's really trying to help us. That consistency, that genuine kindness, it starts to wear down her mistrust. By the time they're actually in Mauritius, she says she's ready for a change, which is huge, considering where she started. It really shows how a positive influence and just being in a peaceful environment can make a difference even for someone feeling totally lost.
Then comes the big reveal in Mauritius. It's a major turning point. They find out the homeless guy is actually Mr. Riley, this legendary billionaire industrialist. And the Spellbinder, the famous guru from the conference, turns out to be Mr. Riley's own personal coach, which immediately makes you think, right, why does a super successful billionaire even need a coach? And why does the coach himself admit he's exhausted and needs to recharge? It really drives home one of Sharma's key points. You just can't get to iconic alone. Success isn't a solo journey. And also, that constant high performance without recovery leads to burnout. Elite production without quiet vacation causes lasting depletion, as the book says. It shows that growth and rest aren't optional extras, they're essential, even for the best of the best.
Exactly. And it's right there in this amazing setting that they get introduced to this really interesting idea, the 2x3x mindset. It sounds a bit like a formula, but the idea is quite radical. To double your income and your impact, you need to triple your investment in two specific things: your personal growth, your mastery, and your professional skills, your capability. It hammers home that core belief in the book. Growth is the real sport that the best play every day. It's not about coasting on past wins or just relying on talent. It's about constantly getting better. Sharma claims education truly is inoculation against disruption, meaning in a world changing so fast, learning and adapting is your best defense. And your best offense. It shifts the goal from just doing more stuff to actually becoming more capable, more insightful. 3, the practical framework, the 20-20-20 formula. Okay, so we've got the why, this compelling philosophy behind waking up at 5 a.m. But then comes the big question, how? How do you actually do it? And this is where Sharma gets really practical. He lays out the mechanics for that victory hour. It's called the 20-20-20 formula.
And it's not just about, dragging yourself out of bed. It's a very specific structured routine. You divide that hour, 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., into 3 distinct 20-minute blocks. Each one has a clear purpose, designed to set you up for the whole day. It's all about precision, about intention.
Exactly. The very first block, 5 a.m. to 5:20 a.m., is all about move. And we're talking intense physical activity here. Sharma's not suggesting a gentle wake-up stretch. No, he advocates for something that gets your heart rate up, makes you sweat, a proper workout or run, maybe some high-intensity intervals, or even a really dynamic yoga practice. Mr. Riley, the mentor, he apparently demonstrates this with one-arm push-ups and holding long planks, so, setting a high bar. The goal is double-edged. First, flush out cortisol, that stress hormone that builds up overnight and makes you feel anxious or groggy. And second, simultaneously flood your system with energy and endorphins. Get your body and mind fired up and ready for whatever the day throws at you. It's like jump-starting your engine.
And the book dives into some interesting science behind this, too. It talks about neuroscience, specifically human growth hormone HGH.
Right.
HGH is made in the pituitary gland, and it's vital for healthy tissues, metabolism, even how long we might live well. Now, exercise definitely triggers HGH release, but here's the kicker. About 75% of your HGH production happens while you're asleep, in those deep sleep cycles. So by hitting that intense exercise first thing, you're essentially taking the HGH boost from your sleep and amplifying it. Plus, you signal your body to keep producing it. You get this double benefit right at the start.
Absolutely. And Sharma also brings up telomeres. Remember those? They're like the little protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes, like the plastic bits on shoelaces, stopping them from fraying. When telomeres get shorter faster, it's linked to aging and health issues. But the good news, the book points out, is that things like intense exercise, meditation, eating well, good sleep, they all help slow down that shortening process. So this move segment isn't just about feeling energetic in the moment, it's actually helping protect your DNA, potentially promoting a longer, healthier life. It's deep biological work.
And then there's the psychological side. That move block is also a direct hit for building discipline. Your willpower. Mr. Riley calls it voluntary discomfort. Deliberately doing something hard, pushing yourself. He gives some extreme examples, like sleeping in your workout clothes so there's zero friction to starting. Or even doing push-ups on the floor of the Taj Mahal, maybe a bit much for most of us. But the point is, these are strengthening scenarios, designed to build that willpower muscle. The book really hammers this home. Personal discipline is a muscle. The more you stretch it, the stronger it grows. It's saying this isn't about being born disciplined. It's about creating these small daily challenges, these small wins against resistance, to build your inner strength. You prove to yourself every morning you can do the hard thing, and that confidence carries over. You conquer that just 5 more minutes voice.
Okay, so you've moved, you're energized, cortisol is down. What's next in Sharma's routine? The next 20 minutes, 5:20 a.m. to 5:40 a.m., are dedicated to reflect. This is where you engage your mind more quietly. Journaling is key here, using what he calls daily diaries. Also, meditation, prayer, contemplation, or strategic planning for the day. Mr. Riley actually gives the characters these nice Italian leather journals. It kind of signifies how important this practice is meant to be. The main goal here is cultivating awareness, getting really clear on your goals, organizing your thoughts before the day's chaos hits, and crucially, processing emotions.
Right, and that emotional processing part is really emphasized. It's a big piece of this. The daily diaries are positioned as this tool for getting stuff out. Frustrations, disappointments, maybe resentments you're holding on to. By writing them down, the idea is you release that toxic energy, that low-grade negativity that can just drag you down all day. The billionaire character, Mr. Riley, he shares how doing this helped him let go of a lot of past pain. And that led him to feel more wonder, more gratitude, more peace.
So what's the takeaway there for you, the listener? It strongly suggests that holding onto the past, old hurts, grudges literally drains your energy, makes you less productive. So this reflection pocket is about finding emotional freedom, cleaning the slate each morning, and that, in turn, frees up your mental bandwidth for creativity, for focus, for handling challenges effectively. Imagine starting the day feeling lighter, clearer. It also includes this idea of a pre-performance blueprint, basically writing out how you want your ideal day to unfold. To sharpen focus and commitment, the book even says the heroic women and men of the world were all perfectionists, which implies this very detailed, intentional approach to planning your day, not leaving things to chance.
And there's another crucial element here, solitude. The power of just being quiet, alone with your thoughts. It reminds me of that Thomas Edison quote, "The best thinking has been done in solitude. The worst has been done in turmoil." This 20-minute slot is specifically designed for that. A quiet space to invent, visualize, and dream, as Sharma puts it, away from all the noise, is when your best ideas might surface, when you can really connect with your intuition, when the path forward might become clearer, giving your brain that essential quiet time.
Okay, moving on to the final 20-minute block of the Victory Hour. From 5:40 a.m. to 6 a.m., the focus is grow. This segment is all about learning, investing in yourself. So this could be reading a nonfiction book that teaches you something valuable, or listening to an insightful podcast, perhaps even this one, or maybe actively studying a new skill. Could be anything coding, a language, learning about history, whatever expands your mind. The core idea is continuous self-education. Based on that principle we mentioned earlier, education is inoculation against disruption. The book argues really strongly that investing in your own learning offers the highest return you can get. Better than stocks, better than anything else, because it compounds within you.
Which definitely makes you think, doesn't it? Are you using those pockets of downtime effectively? The book has this great practical tip called Traffic University. Such a good name. The idea is simple. Use your commute time, which adds up to literally years over a lifetime for many people for learning. Instead of listening to draining news or just zoning out, listen to audiobooks, lectures, educational podcasts. Sharma argues that even picking up one single new idea, one insight, can dramatically boost your creativity, your productivity, your energy, even your sense of purpose. He's a huge believer in reading himself, calls it one of the master habits of the great ones. It just underlines how essential consistent learning is to this whole model of success, turning dead time into growth time. 4. The underlying principles, the 4 focuses of the heroic. So the 20-20-20 formula is the how, but the book also layers on these bigger principles, guiding ideas. Sharma calls them the 4 focuses of the heroic, which sounds pretty grand, but they're basically the pillars supporting the whole 5 a.m. club philosophy, a framework for achieving, well, greatness in your life. Not just optimizing your morning, but shaping your whole approach.
Exactly. The first one is capitalization IQ. It sounds complex, but the idea is actually quite straightforward. It's about using the talents, the skills, the potential you already have to the absolute fullest, not letting it sit dormant or underused. Sharma talks about breaking free from the self-fulfilling prophecy, where we unconsciously buy into limiting beliefs about ourselves. I'm not smart enough, I'm not talented enough, and then we act in ways that make those beliefs true. He says the world is a mirror, and we get from life not what we want, but that which we are. Meaning, what shows up in your life often reflects your inner beliefs and how much you're actually using the gifts you possess. It's a call to step up and deploy your inherent abilities.
And this idea of fully using your potential, this capitalization IQ, it's linked to what Sharma contrasts as granularity versus superficiality. Think about, say, a Formula One pit crew, the incredible attention they pay to every tiny detail. Every movement, every tool, every fraction of a second counts towards excellence. Or like a master painter, maybe Vermeer, spending ages getting the light just right, making the image feel almost real. Painstaking detail. The book argues the top 5% go granular versus applying a superficial mindset. They obsess over the details in their daily attitudes, their actions, their work. It's not about being a perfectionist in an erotic way, maybe, but about a deep commitment to excellence in the small things. Understanding that mastery is built from those tiny, consistent efforts, not just big, flashy moves.
The second focus ties in perfectly. Freedom from distraction. This one feels incredibly relevant today, right? It stresses how vital it is to create an environment where you can actually do deep, focused work, especially with constant digital pings and alerts. The book puts it starkly. An addiction to distraction is the end of your creative production. Sharma talks about this trend he calls the collective deprofessionalization of business, where people are just less focused at work, watching silly videos, shopping online, scrolling feeds instead of engaging deeply. He sees it as this widespread issue eroding productivity, innovation, and just genuine focus, making deep work almost feel like an act of defiance these days. And that really hits home, I think.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit more. Because in a world yelling, do more, be everywhere, respond now, this idea of freedom from distraction feels almost revolutionary, like an act of self-defense for your brain, for your best work. Sharma's solution: simplify, streamline, purify. Focus your energy on fewer projects, but make them truly excellent. Don't spread yourself too thin. Quality over quantity. And it applies beyond work, too. Fewer but deeper friendships. Saying no to more things that don't align with your core goals. Majoring in fewer hobbies, maybe. It's about being intensely focused only on what truly matters. Carving out these zones of deep concentration where your best self can actually show up. Deliberately building walls against the trivial.
Then we get to the third focus: Personal mastery practice. This is all about that relentless commitment to getting better, constantly learning, refining your skills, improving yourself. There's a powerful line in the book. Ideas are worth nothing unless backed by application. The smallest of implementations is always worth more than the grandest of intentions. Ouch, but true, right? It's a huge call to action. Knowing stuff isn't enough. It's the doing, the applying it consistently that makes the difference, where potential actually becomes performance.
And this ties into what the Spellbinder character calls the three-step success formula. It's a loop. Better daily awareness leads to better daily choices, which leads to better daily results. Keep that cycle going, and you accelerate your growth, personally and professionally. It's about this constant fine-tuning, this refinement of attitudes and details. The book calls it calibration. Mr. Riley uses this analogy of the Moncler CEO talking about making the perfect spaghetti pomodoro. Sounds simple, right? But getting the calibration absolutely perfect requires real expertise, uncommon skill. It highlights that true mastery is often in those subtle adjustments, those tiny details, not just the big picture stuff.
And personal mastery practice also tackles the big challenge. How do you sustain high-level performance over a whole lifetime? The story about the Taj Mahal is used here. Its incredible beauty took decades of patient, hard work. Sharma talks about the need for long months and perhaps extended years in the parched desert of creative implementation, emphasizing the grit, the patience needed for long-term greatness. It really pushes back against our instant gratification culture. Mastery isn't an overnight thing. It really is a ceaseless process, he writes. And this consistent daily commitment is what separates, in Sharma's words, the also-rans from the icons. It makes it clear that sustained excellence is a choice you make every day.
Okay, the fourth and final focus, day stacking. This one sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's the idea that small, positive habits done consistently, day after day, stack up over time to create massive results. Huge transformations is built on this core belief. Each of your prized days represents your precious life in miniature. As you live each day, so you craft your life.
Oh.
Wow. So the implication is your future isn't some far-off thing that just happens. You are literally building it, moment by moment, day by day, with what we are doing today. Every choice, every action is like laying another brick.
And the foundation for this day stacking, it goes right back to the morning. Winning definitely does start at your beginning. Own your morning and the quality of your day rises exponentially, which in turn upgrades the caliber of your life exceptionally. So by getting that first hour right, feeling energized, focused, clear, calm, you set yourself up to handle the rest of the day better. You're more resilient, more productive, more positive, even when things get tough. You're basically stacking the deck in your favor right from the start, building momentum.
And the book actually brings in some science here, too, to back how habits form. It cites research from University College London about the 66-day minimum for installing a new habit. It's not just a random number. It's broken into 3 phases, each about 22 days long. It shows how our brains adapt. Phase 1 is destruction. This is when you're breaking the old patterns, the old habits. It feels hard, uncomfortable, maybe even painful. But Sharma frames this as a good thing, a necessary annihilation of your weakness. He argues that difficulty here is a sign that real change is happening. You're clearing out the old programming.
Right. Then comes phase 2, roughly the next 22 days. Installation. Sharma calls this the messy middle. This is where your brain is literally rewiring itself, building new neural pathways, new emotional circuits. It can feel confusing, chaotic, like things are falling apart because your brain is letting go of the old familiar ways and trying to solidify the new ones. But the book reassures you, actually, all is coming together even better. This is neuroplasticity in action, the brain changing itself. And neurogenesis, maybe even growing new neurons. It's like a construction site in your head. It looks messy, feels disruptive, but it's essential work for making that new habit stick. You're basically installing new software.
And then finally, phase 3, completing the roughly 66 days. Integration. This is where it all comes together. The new habit becomes automatic, effortless, part of who you are. It's encoded deeply, psychologically, emotionally, physically. It's success time, as the book calls it. You feel the benefits fully. The routine feels natural. It's your new normal. And Sharma sums up this whole process with a great line, useful for any big change, really. All change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and gorgeous at the end. It's a good reminder that the struggle is part of the path to transformation. Don't quit in the messy middle. Beyond the ritual. Sustaining mastery and living a grand life.
So the book goes beyond just the morning routine. It talks about how to keep performing at a high level consistently over the long run. It introduces the twin cycles of elite performance. The formula is pressure x refueling equals growth plus endurance. The first part, pressure as privilege, really flips the script on how we usually think about stress. Instead of seeing pressure as bad, Sharma argues it's absolutely necessary for the expansion of your capacity. He even says the time you least feel like doing something is the best time to do it. The idea is that leaning into challenges, stepping outside your comfort zone, that's precisely how you grow stronger, build skills, develop resilience. Pressure becomes a catalyst for growth, not something to run from.
But, and this is crucial, it has to be balanced by the other cycle. Refueling as necessity. The book is very clear. All work and no break depletes your greatness. You can't just push indefinitely. Recovery isn't a nice to have. It's non-negotiable for sustained high performance. It's a cycle. Intense effort followed by deep recovery. And Sharma offers some specific, maybe even provocative tactics for refueling, like zero device days, taking 2 full days a week completely off technology. Imagine. Total mental reset. Sounds hard, but maybe essential.
Yeah, and another one is the second wind workout, or 2WW. This means doing a second workout, maybe lighter, at the end of the workday, like a 1-hour walk in nature, a bike ride, a swim, some yoga. The aim is to combat that afternoon slump, boost your willpower for the evening, and even curb unhealthy cravings. Good for mindset, heart set, health set, soul set, all 4 empires. And then there's a really controversial one, the 2 massage protocol, 2MP. Scheduling 2 90-minute massages every single week sounds wildly expensive, right? But the book justifies it by claiming the benefits for mental clarity, focus, happiness, health, longevity are so huge that the cost is worth it. It even says death will cost you more. It positions these not as luxuries, but as strategic investments in yourself, essential for playing the long game at your peak. Serious recovery for serious performers.
The book also really pushes you to redefine what success even means, to look beyond just money or status. We see this through the entrepreneur character's journey. She has this big realization. Success for her becomes less about external metrics and more about internal states, connection with my natural power, intimacy with my authenticity, vitality around my physicality, the size of my joy. It's about achieving that balance, being both accomplished in the world, yet peaceful within myself. That's a powerful shift in perspective, finding wholeness, not just wealth.
And that naturally flows into this idea of heaven on earth. It's presented not as some afterlife destination, but as a state of being you can create right now in your daily life. How? By actively cultivating those 4 interior empires, your mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set. Doing that work, Sharma says, transforms your experience of life. It's about reconnecting with that sense of wonder, innocence, joy, and love that maybe you had as a child before life got so complicated and cynical, recapturing that inner magic.
And a huge theme throughout this transformation journey is dealing with hardship, overcoming adversity, and maybe even harder, forgiveness. We see the entrepreneur face actual death threats from investors, a terrifying situation. But she shifts from being paralyzed by fear to this place of high confidence and mighty defiance, while Mr. Riley just calmly says it's being handled. This intense experience leads her to a really profound insight. Every one human being does the best they can do based on the level of consciousness they are currently at, meaning people who hurt others are often operating from their own pain or limitations. She comes to see her difficult investors almost as teachers who forced her to find her own strength.
Which leads perfectly into billionaires' maxim #3. Failure inflates fearlessness. It echoes that J.K. Rowling idea. It is impossible to live without failing unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. It's a direct challenge to embrace courage, to risk failure, because failure isn't the end. It's actually fuel for becoming braver, more resilient. And through this whole process, the entrepreneur genuinely has let go of the demons of her past. It really underscores how vital it is to release old baggage, disappointments, resentments, so they don't poison your present and future. Letting go frees up so much energy.
And finally, the book comes back to living a full life, appreciating the simple things, the real joys. Billionaire's maxim #9 is deep love yields unconquerable joy. It stresses connecting with others, serving others. It suggests that the less you focus just on yourself and the more you focus on lifting others up, the more you actually grow into a true empire builder and make a real difference. Shifting from me to we.
Yeah, Mr. Riley embodies this. He pushes the idea. Become a collector of awesome experiences instead of a consumer of material things. He talks about his most treasured memories with his wife weren't fancy trips, but simple things. Sharing cheap pizza, reading together quietly, long walks in nature, dancing in their bedroom. Those were life's finest treasures. And this appreciation for the now is captured in Maxim #11. Tomorrow is a bonus, not a right. Don't put off living fully. Don't delay finding peace. Life is short. Be present. Embrace the day, the simple moments, the chances to connect.
It really all circles back to that inner state, doesn't it? The idea that heaven on earth shows up naturally in your heart when you have the brilliance and bravery to start opening it up again. It's about reclaiming that capacity for joy and wonder that's inside all of us. Outro. So what we've really unpacked today, from those strange encounters and the characters' journeys to the neuroscience and the philosophy, it shows that the 5 a.m. Club is way more than just an early alarm. It's this whole integrated system for building up your mindset, heart set, health set, and soul set, those 4 interior empires. It aims for deep personal mastery, enabling you to perform at your best and make a real contribution. It's really a blueprint for living with more intention, more productivity, and ultimately more joy. All built on that simple but powerful idea of day stacking and consistent discipline.
Which leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it, for you listening? If every single day truly is your precious life in miniature, and we know now that your brain can literally be changed, sculpted, improved through deliberate effort, well, what amazing transformation are you ready to create? What potential is waiting to be unlocked just by choosing to own your next morning and then the morning after that with real intention?
Yeah, think about it. What's just one small step, one tiny target you could aim for this week based on something we talked about today? Maybe it is setting the alarm for 5 a.m. just once to see how it feels, or maybe spending 20 minutes journaling, or just reading one chapter of a book that helps you grow. Start really small, stay consistent, and keep that Sharma mantra in mind. The smallest of implementations is always worth more than the grandest of intentions. The music's playing. Are you ready to start dancing?